Hello, welcome back to Looking at Magazines Tonight. We're looking at magazines tonight, and this is Looking at Magazines Tonight Part 2. This is the program where we look at a stack of magazines, and it will almost feel like I'm reading the magazine for you, and in some instances, I actually will be reading the magazine for you. You might feel like we're going too slow, but you could always just like fast forwarding if you wanted, or maybe just move on if you don't care for the video. But if you do like the video, you could drop a like. And if you've never seen any of my videos before, you could subscribe. It would be completely free. All of those things would be completely free. Dropping a like would be completely free. Leaving would be completely free. And subscribing would also be completely free. There would be no charge to you in any way. I always wanted these masks. I always wanted all of this. I never got any of this. But later in life, I would acquire funds, promissory notes, and then I would trade those promissory notes for things. Let's see if we can find the shirts that I had. So I did have these shirts. We've talked about this all before, many of us, and really it's only just been me and Grat who have talked about this. But I had a couple of these shirts, and so the two shirts that I had are right here. So I had this short sleeve creepy shirt right here. I had this long sleeved creepy shirt right here. Now this was my coveted, I absolutely loved this shirt. But this shirt didn't survive more than a couple months because I loved it so much, and because I was like 10 or 11 years old, maybe 12. Yeah, maybe more like 12. But I was tough on clothes, and these are like pajamas. The material was really cheap, and like it would come unraveled under your arm. And in addition, it smelled bad, and it was itchy, and it came unraveled down here and around the neck, itchy and came unraveled. Didn't last probably more than 10 washings. And yeah, so that's what the back of the ads looked like. We were talking about that earlier if you're just joining us. I talked about how when you would buy one of these worn magazines, the first thing that you would do would be to turn to the back and be disappointed that there was a Star Wars ad back there. And then you would look at the advertisements for toys, comics, posters, movies, masks. Look at all this cool stuff. These posters. It's great stuff. The underwear is creepy. Well, it's also Eerie and Vampirella and Famous Monsters. It's another Warren magazine, and it's a creepy, and it's one that I bought a long time ago. This is the Weird Children's issue. Sugar and Spice and Hearts Cold as Ice. This is that same guy, that Mates, the same artist that did the monkey issue. Don't tell me this is another issue where we've got everybody doing the same possible. I don't know. I can't remember. This is the Kiss Super Special. This is number 2, the second Kiss Super Special. I loved these when they came out. I was completely on top of all of this. This was my thing. If I had been old enough to enlist in the Kiss Army, I would have enlisted in the Kiss Army. And then when I was old enough, I found out that the Kiss Army they didn't have the delayed entry program. And so I got on board with the delayed entry program with the Army when I was in high school, and I took the ASVAB. So I forgot all about the Kiss Army. And then while I was in the Army, I thought about maybe extending and or maybe joining the French Foreign Legion. And then also in addition, I thought about the Kiss Army too. But once I had a couple deployments, I really had my fill of the whole thing, and I was done with combat. And so Yeah, I didn't want to be in the Kiss Army anymore. I didn't want to be in any other kind of army, really. Uh, this is badass. This is a great cover by Bob Larkin, right? This came with a poster inside. It was a really cool poster, but I took it out and hung it up on my wall. Now it's long, long gone. So because I took it out and put it up on my wall, to me, this issue is like, I mean, obviously to everyone it would be ruined forever. But to me, what I don't like about it is how it feels so light. Like, because it used to feel like a regular magazine, but without the poster in there, it really feels thin. So if you guys have this issue, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I loved all this stuff. Look at how good this is. The art's great. The color is great in here. This is probably not cheap though now. I mean, it's probably not cheap to get this. Is this the center? Is that why it just opened up to it? I don't know. I can't see. I'm just blind. It's not even close to the center. But how cool. I'm glad it opens up to that right there. Really cool stuff. So you get Ralph Macchio, John Romita Jr. and Tony DeZuniga did the art. I like the art in here. I didn't realize that it was John Romita Jr. that did this. Maybe because Tony DeZuniga makes kind of everything look like Tony DeZuniga. But I do remember this guy with that shirt that says "Play hard, play fair." I remember this story. Why would I remember that character with that shirt that said "Play hard, play fair"? Do you guys remember this too? Somebody else must have read this. I haven't read this since I was 14 probably, or 15. I really haven't reread this. I don't think that I've reread this. I recommend it though. It's fun and cool, but it's too bad that it's probably expensive at this point, I'm guessing. Sorry, it's been off the screen like that all this time. This is an issue of Weirdo. Issue number 21 of Weirdo. It's adults only. How cool is that logo right there? I gotta be me. Not so fast, sonny boy. And in this issue, we get Mickey Rat, more sex-crazed housewife, drugs, and beach parties. It's an R. Crumb cover. Eek! From 1987. I really love this stuff. And I still love this stuff. This is my jam. I just love so many different types of comic books, you guys. There's so much that I love that is so different than the other stuff that I love, because I can love this horrible Mickey Rat right here that is so awesome and cool and is just, I think it's great. I can also love that disgusting weird Wally Wood stuff that we just looked at a second ago. I can think that's, I liked it. I think it's cool. It's interesting and weird. Maybe I don't love it. Okay, I take that back. I don't love it. But maybe I don't love Mickey Rat, but I can appreciate it. I can appreciate both of those things. But what I do love is like Dell Comics. And that's completely opposite than these other things that we're talking about and looking at. The exact opposite of it. Right? Like, what was it? Dell Comics are good comics? These are not good comics we're looking at right now. So Dell Comics are good comics. These comics, these are bad comics. Weirdo Comics, bad comics. 1984, bad comics. By those comparisons. But I can like good and I can like bad. That's the whole, right? It's the dichotomy of man. I just know I need more comics, just like Crumb. And I always need more Crumb comics. There's Aileen Kaminsky. You should check out Weirdo. I love this. Executing the Family Cat. Ah, jeez. Isn't that great? So you can be like me and you can be open-minded and broad-spanning and you can love everything. You could do that if you wanted to. Or at least not love everything, but at least give everything a chance and maybe give something. I mean, maybe like not this. Like that's probably illegal to show on YouTube. But it's here and available for you in Weirdo. And then you get stuff like we just saw, but then you get deep interpersonal glimpses into the world of Crumb. Like this really cool drawing that he did of his daughter Sophie sitting across from him at the breakfast table eating cereal, and she's saying, "I hate you. I want to go away and do stuff." This is what you get when you're an adult and you're a comic book collector. Now you could keep buying the other stuff, or you could even ignore all of this stuff and you could just buy what's new. That would be the worst possible thing you could do, is if you would just think like, wow, that looks really weird and creepy. I wouldn't even want to attempt to find out how to get interested or to find out where I could find those magazines, because I just want to buy whatever's new from the big two. There's got to be people like that out there. And maybe that's what you're into. Maybe you just want to stay in the bike lane. You don't want to swerve into oncoming traffic like me. I sometimes swerve into oncoming traffic. But when Dynamite came up with this logo, they were just making it attractive to children, and they thought that it looked good. It had nothing to do with any sort of political agenda. This is Dynamite. This has come from Scholastic Books, and you would get this once a month when you were in elementary school. This is an issue with a cover story about Hilda Radner. She died way too young from cancer, and she was a very funny comedian that used to be on Saturday Night Live late at night every Saturday, back when Saturday Night Live was funny. She did all these different characters on Saturday Night Live. Her alone, just her alone, she is better than probably every single person in the past 30 years on Saturday Night Live. She had more talent than any of those 30 years of entire casts of 7 or 8 people. She had more talent than anyone else. This is her as Roseannadanna, the nutty newscaster. That might have been one of her earliest characters, I think, was Roseannadanna. That's who, when we first learned her. You should, if you don't know who she is, you could probably find her. Now, this is who I really loved her as. And it was Lisa Lubner. I thought it was Lubner, but it says Lupner right here. Maybe it was Lisa Lubner. It says, everyone's favorite nerd, Lisa Lubner. I don't know if she was a nerd. She kind of reminded me of a couple of my cousins. She was just like a homebody, and she was just like a girl that was raised by old people, is how I would describe Lisa, maybe. Anyway, Lisa was really a great character, and the skits with her and Bill Murray as Todd, or she called him Todd, they're really, really good skits. This is Emily Latilla, and she tells an audience, never mind. This woman was a genius. She was married to Gene Wilder. He was also very funny and talented. But after everything we're looking at, not even long after, man, like maybe a year or two after this, I don't know about the math, maybe it was 3 years later, she died of some form of cancer, very young. And now a word from our sponsor. Wow, this has still got the stuff in it. I didn't use any of this. It must not have interested me at all. Oh, look, there's Bella and Long John Silver over here. I saw it said Injun Joe. That's not Injun Joe. That's Geronimo. What? That looks like a picture of Geronimo, you guys. It says illustration Katrina Taylor. I don't know, Katrina. This looks to me like you based this illustration upon a photograph of a real person, and that real person is Geronimo. I just happen to know a little bit about Geronimo because I collect Geronimo action figures. So I'm going to put you in your place, Katrina. I think you ripped off the image of Geronimo. That's not Injun Joe at all. That's Injun Joe. That's Fu Manchu. Because that's not Fu Manchu. That's Bela Lugosi as Fu Manchu. No, I mean that's okay. This passes because it's actually Fu Manchu. But this is not. I don't think that's Indian. I don't. If that is, what movie is that from? That looks. Maybe I'm wrong. To me, that looks just like Geronimo. I'm probably wrong. I'm always wrong, right? Who's this guy? That's Dracula. So I must not have been interested by this stuff that was in here, although I did take those things out. We better get moving. We can't even make it through an entire stack of magazines in an hour's time. So we're going to make it through, though. These are just heavy metals. They're not even that big of a deal. This one's got some sort of a coffee ring. Look at that. Not a bummer when that happens. Or something cold. Maybe this was at the by the pool. This might have been a beer. Cold beer might have done that. I'm not sure what did that. It's a shame because when you open it up, it's got a Videodrome ad. You don't see a lot of these. This is from the movie when it first came out. This was a great movie, such a cool movie. I have this on VHS. Got to find it and pull it out and watch it. I haven't watched anything on VHS in at least 10 years. I do still have a VHS player. This is Journey. They're a band from Northern California. That kid right there, Steve Perry. He's a Portuguese from the Valley. I think another one of these guys is Portuguese too, but he's like the main Portuguese on here. He runs the whole band, and he's the Portuguese. There's nudity in here sometimes in heavy metal, and sometimes there's nudity in my videos. You're going to be noticing that because sometimes the videos include pieces of art that are nudity. Because what we're doing is I'm forcing you to look at my magazines. And I'm going to read them to you, and then I'm going to tell you what I think are the best parts of the magazine, which could totally not be the best parts of the magazine. But for me, when this era of heavy metal, the early 1980s, used to have these video game reviews by this guy John Holmstrom in every issue, and I'm holding it here so that somebody in my audience who's a viewer who likes to read could always pause this and look at it, and then they would know why I told you that this is one of the best parts of old issues of heavy metal, because this guy did really good, comprehensive, and entertaining reviews of brand new video games on brand new video game consoles that were just coming out, and it was really basic stuff. This is a banger of a heavy metal. It's too bad that I set like a Bud Light there on the top of it, in 1982. But inside here is more horrible, disgusting violence and graphic nudity and stuff, but it's drawn and painted and airbrushed by this amazing artist named Richard Corbin. And he's like one of the greatest of all time. If you don't even know who he is, you got to seek him out. And you're going to find him a lot in Heavy Metal Magazine. You're also going to find him a lot in Creepy, in the color section, as I mentioned before and stuff. Heavy metal is really good, especially this old stuff, like what we're looking at right here. And it's mostly European stuff, but then there's also Western stuff too. Like, Richard Corbin is an American. Oh, I had one of these shirts. I had one of these just black ones, just like what she's wearing. Mine looked better on me. She should take hers off. Hers would look better if she would take it off. And that's what she's doing there in this picture. That's what draws your eye to this entire ad. Do you see this? Right here. That's what's happening down here. I don't care about any of this. As soon as I see this, immediately my eye is coming down here because of what she's doing with her hands. More heavy metal. This is heavy metal from the 2012. This is after it's changed completely. Now this is new era heavy metal that's being edited by Kevin Eastman, a guy that he's selling guitars with images of the same on the cover. The guy that did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, he like bought Heavy Metal or something. He took over Heavy Metal in the early 2010s. Like this is about 2012, 2013. Still good. Um, I like it. It did go downhill a little bit, in my opinion, after this, and the content started dropping, and there started being a lot too many advertisements and not as much good stuff like what we're seeing here. Not as much to choose from. Instead, it would just be a lot of the same thing. But this was still good of what's happening here, and you can see that. So if you're interested in heavy metal and you want to find a spot to get into it that's less expensive than some other spots, like look at how cool that is. I don't even know about heavy metal these days, but maybe it's expensive to find the stuff from like 1982, but maybe it's cheaper to find stuff from 2012. So if it is, I recommend both. I think you try both as long as it's not expensive for you, as long as it's cheap and, and it's within your budget and such. This can be a fun read if you're open-minded and you're willing to take chances and experiment with what you like and what you like to read. This is a very nice cover, right? Which is, I guess, what this series of videos here tonight when we've been looking at these stacks of magazine has been about. I didn't expect, once again, this is pretty much random. I didn't know, I did know a couple of things that were in this stack, but nothing was prepared or put in any sort of order. It was just what was in that container. And so, once again, this has been a nice example of a hodgepodge, a cornucopia, a cavalcade, so to speak, of different flavors, of 31 flavors of magazines. And that was a cool toy. I never got this toy. Remember this? It's the Horta. You guys remember what the Horta wanted to say? Remember what she was saying? She said, "No kill I." She said, "No kill I." That's what she's saying to Spock right here. She's saying, "No kill I." Heavy metal is good, fun, interesting, it's cool. Even this stuff that is new, that you might think might not be good, it's still worth reading and checking out for a fair price. You see it, so there's a lot of degeneracy. But I'll be the first one to get in to hold up my hand and say that I'm a degenerate. I fit right into a basket of deplorables. I've never been ashamed of that. So I am deplorable. And this is an adult illustrated fantasy magazine. It says that right on the cover. And I think I did give some sort of a warning about what we were looking at. I don't know. I don't ever give any sorts of warnings. This is an adult channel. The world's greatest illustrated magazine. I thought it used to say adult illustrated fantasy magazine. I don't know. Well, this is an adult illustrated fantasy YouTube channel. Doesn't look as good, does it? This is the last one. This would be the I don't know anyway. Anyway, a lot of seemed like there was a lot of debauchery or nudity or something happening in tonight's episode. It really wasn't intentional. There's some strange stuff in here. Let's look at Weirdo, because it's just because it was. We're only looking at it because it popped up, just like right now. It could have something strange and funny. It looks like Hillary Clinton is right here at the bottom. Muffy, darling, have you seen the new Weirdo? But of course, darling, Andrew and I subscribe. Kiss peck. That's pretty funny. I think that's very funny. Look, it says the Back Bay and Beacon Hill chapter of the Boston Great Books Association discusses Weirdo over cocktails. I can't do all these voices. I'm not going to read all of this for you. I am going to suggest that you go check out Weirdo. If you can find some issues of Weirdo, if you can find number 21, and you don't have to pay an arm or a leg for it, I would recommend it. But they're all, I haven't found a bad Weirdo yet. Haven't met a weirdo that I didn't like. Who said that? Was that Will Rogers? Will Rogers, I think, said that. Never met a weirdo I didn't like. This looks like Aileen Kaminsky. It's not, but this looks like it was drawn by a girl. No offense, but we've got more time. We're just going to flip through. We're going to flip through backwards. So we don't know anything about what this story is or who the artist is, what the title is. So, but what we can do is we can rely on my knowledge. And I'm going to tell you just by what we're looking at, this is the artist Spain Rodriguez. What the story is, I don't remember. I read it 10 years ago or something, but I recognize the art of Spain Rodriguez. But I could be wrong. Or I could be totally right. See? It's called Big Bitch. Look, I love what it says. Don't fuck with Big Bitch. 87. Spain Rodriguez. Most of these comics, and this guy is from here. He's always lived, or he did, I think he passed away, but he always lived here in the Mission District, which is a very high concentration of the Latinx community. And so he was one of your Latinxes, and very, very much self-identified as a son of the city of San Francisco. So his comics are heavily influenced by the city of San Francisco, as is pretty much everything in this entire issue, probably. Now, there's probably some other weirdos from some other places of lesser weirdo renown, but this comic company, Last Gasp, they're from here, from San Francisco, and that's where Crumb did a lot of his work, and he lived here, and a lot of these other people all lived here. The other guy, S. Clay Wilson, he's lived here. A bunch of them all lived here, or at least had ties to here, and were connected through here, and created a great number of the heaviest undergrounds here in the city of San Francisco. So you could kind of say, like in the same way that you could say that the industry of comic books, of mainstream comic books, originated in New York City. You could say that New York City was like the hub of the Golden Age and the Silver Age at the beginning. Well, you would also say that the hub and the inception point, or whatever you call it, the cornerstone, the wherever, I don't know, whatever, it was San Francisco. So for underground comics, San Francisco is the place where they were, I guess, mostly born or something. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Once again, often wrong. These are just my opinions. Let's take a picture of this. This is going to be our what do they call it? A thumbnail. Okay. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll talk to you guys later.